How's it going, everyone? Mad Spartan here, and today we're bringing you another war. I believe it's war number 8. We did happen to lose the last war, so that was upsetting, but this war we got a Quicksilver boss. I will be taking that Kindred on Stun Reflect and the Silk on Brute Force. I brought Gulk for it, and then I snuck on Venom Pool for it to take the Silk, but I ended up suffering because I had to take the Rintra without Archangel, which was definitely a nightmare, because I know that fight can be done with Titania, the first shared fight with aggressive regen, but it is a pain to do because you have to constantly keep heavying for the staggers, and also against Rintra you have to heavy anyway. But to start it off, it's just an easy fight with a buff immune. Just, I believe he was here last war too. It's just a man thing, nothing much to it. Gives placebo buffs, but obviously we're immune, so there's no power, and there's pretty much nothing to it. Just take your time with it. 1 SP3 is pretty much dead. Afterwards, we do have to take a pretty hard fight. It's the Rintra with aggressive regen, and also when you're immune to something, you gain power. And that is definitely really difficult for Titania. It's a little bit easier with Gulk, but I run into a couple issues with the Mystic Dispersion, so we just kind of played it safe with Titania. Constantly doing the heavies. You see right there, it's got personal space, regen, and also placebo buffs. And every time you're immune to something, they gain a certain percent of a bar of power. You see here, I did a start with a bar of power because I'm trying to rush to that SP3 because I don't know if the AI does not cooperate with me. I do have to make sure I have an SP3 available. We got a nice little intercept there, so we were able to start off with the 5-hit combo. I did end it early though to get a heavy, so I was able to start nullifying the regens that were coming. And because she's SIG 200, there is a 30% chance that I'm able to put 2. And if I'm able to put 2 staggers, it makes it a lot easier and less stressful because I'm able to kind of do a 5-hit combo and not have to worry about keep heavying. Because as soon as I put 1 stagger, the next one comes off. So as soon as I'm able to put 2, you'll see I'm able to kind of hit him a little more freely now. He pretty much never gains his charges because I'm heavying him all game, constantly punishing the SP1. I don't really ever run into issues here. Obviously, you can see, like, every time my dex, he gains the power. It's not too much power gain. It's really kind of bearable. But right now, we're just going to do an SP3. Lock him in the corner. Usually, I'm able to cancel it into a heavy, so I'm able to get some staggers in so I can continue the onslaught. Because I've had run into mistakes before where you just keep laying into them into the corner, and then they have like 4 or 5 regens, and they basically regen all their health back, and they go back to 100, and you got to start over. Now right here is kind of a little bit of a problem, because I don't know how the AI is working. He may go to SP3, but we do get a little lucky. He does throw that SP2, but then I'm immediately into baiting the SP1, so we kind of run into this little cycle of me constantly baiting. And that's just the only downside of using a buff immune. Besides that, you take your time. Like, I know that I'm actually recording this while, well, like, I'm doing the voiceover for next war. And they put a man thing there, I believe. And that was a lot more stressful with Titania. You guys will see that in the next video. It just got out of control. There was just too much power. But I'm always able to pop an invul just to make sure. And as you guys can see, the fight is pretty standard. There's nothing much to it. You just got to keep heavying to make sure that you always have a stagger up so that you can be free with the combos so that the regens don't get too much. And with Haymaker, it allows me to get it. See, I got 3 there, so I'm able to kind of be a little more free with it. We're going to keep doing that until we get to our SP3, and hopefully that's going to be the end of him. You do have to take your time because one little slip up, once he gets 1 regen, with 100% increased regen and 25% regen every time you're near him, it does get out of hand really fast. And I'm just trying to get him. I believe I tried to get him down to like around 20%, or at least put a stagger on him, and to hopefully have the SP3 kill because I don't want to do this fight any longer than I have to. I was talking to the people in my alliance for like a half hour on how to do it because on paper she can do it, but it is very difficult to do that. So we ended up getting that done. I did have to stop there. So my boost did run out, but, you know, it doesn't matter. I boosted a little bit lightly, didn't do anything crazy. And now we're in section 2. I got a Mojo. I do have that same EMP Domino, and it is the same thing as before. You just take your time with it. But right now we have Mojo. Like everything else, it's standard with a buff immune. There's nothing really to it. You just take your time with it. I can dex the SP2 on Mojo, but I do like the SP1 because obviously it's a lot easier to handle. Try not to follow his prompts, but most times he just does it himself. So you see here, I'm just going to be baiting the SP1, trying to get back to my Haymaker, and that's pretty much it. The fight's pretty easy. I don't even think I get hit in it, and you just take your time with it. Now, the fight coming up next is an issue. It takes a lot of paying attention. You could screw up a lot. But last war I took it, and I was very upset last war because we ended up losing. We lost by a lot. We basically are at the bottom of Masters. We're 16th at the moment, but we are getting washed. So we have to make sure that we pick it back up. We go back to under 5 deaths, and we move right back in to where we're supposed to be. I do appreciate the people who watch my videos. Like I said, this is my first time doing something like this, so it's going to take a little bit getting used to. I'm not familiar really with the format. One of my Alliance members, Joel MCOC, he taught me how to do it, actually. And see here, I made a little mess up. I have to go do not disturb. I was too anxious for this fight because this fight can go horribly wrong. And if you guys remember from last video, I do pop the regen to stop some of the critical failure, and just like most of the fights, it does take a little bit, but it's a guaranteed one shot, and that's really all we care about. We don't really look for fight duration yet in this alliance. We're kind of focusing on trying to win by deaths, and then maybe when we go up higher, we'll try to branch off to start doing stuff like that. It's not in the cards at the moment, but it is something maybe to start thinking about for the future. But we did end up losing last war. It was tough, but you know, we move right back into it. We are currently in War 9, and right now it's looking pretty good, but it's never fully good until the war is over. But, yeah, same as before. Just take your time with it. You got to watch what she takes away. The unlucky is annoying because if you get Haymaker during unlucky, you actually end up sometimes not even getting anything on your Haymaker. So it's very important to throw it at specific times. The SP3 puts you right back in it. If you do happen to be falling behind on health-wise, that's maybe whether you get hit or critical failure is just really bad with the RNG. You just take it slow. You know, the SP3 puts you right back in it, so it's not really that big of a deal. When she's lucky, I try not to even parry her because she shrugs it off, and the evade isn't something I want to deal with, so I just kind of let it run out. Yeah, you know, I'm running full boost here. I actually do all of Section 2 all in one try, so I did it like a super boost, and I just took it all in one shot, and actually ended up doing it deathless, which is really good for me. I'm very happy about that. I've been aiming for the perfect season for like 4 seasons now, and unfortunately, I'm not going to get it again this season. I have 1 death, and it was from AI not cooperating with me. So we just kind of move on, see what I can take. I do not end up taking the Quicksilver boss. We do have a Nick Fury, but I do end up taking Stun Reflect, Kindred, because I'm usually the one in the battle group who takes Kindreds. I bring my 455, like Sig, like 70 Gladiator Hulk, and I just take my time with it. He doesn't take any degen damage. Basically, it's about 70% reduced, so it's a lot of wiggle room, and I'm actually able to sit in the rooted at the end. I do like to hold a bar of power just in case, but it is very situational because his SP1 does have a chance to stun. So that's another thing that we'll have to worry about that I can talk about a little bit later during the fight. But before we get to the Kindred, we do have to go past the Shocker, which was the shared fight for Section 2. There's nothing to the Shocker. I don't understand really why they put him here, but basically I just threw Venom Pool at him because I needed him for the Silk anyways. Venom Pools is immune to power drain against techs, so Burden of Might doesn't work. He doesn't do energy, so there's no need for the energy resistance, and I believe Shocker doesn't even get regen, so he doesn't even get the unblockable charges either. So there really wasn't anything to it. And you see here I'm messing up. There's a lot of times I don't know if I'm recording, so I check real quick, or I flow right into the next one, so you'll see the notification for the next video. Now here, obviously because he's 6200, you just got to let him throw the SP1 twice. And you got to hopefully land that intercept, because if you don't, he won't lose any of his charges. And if he has charges, I believe when the circle is like yellow like that instead of gray, he's able to auto block your stuff, which obviously I want no part of, because I didn't pop an in. I don't believe I popped an invulnerability for this, or I might have. It doesn't really matter though. But you take your time with it. Always bait for the intercept, and just like that, it's a very easy fight. There's nothing to it, especially since everything that the node is either Shocker doesn't have or Venompool is immune to. So you just take it slow. I was supposed to wait for my Alliance members to take it with Archangel, but I saw that I was fully boosted and I needed Venompool for Silk anyway, so I might as well take it too. Yeah, that's pretty much it. There really is no game plan for it. SP2s, SP1s. Definitely have to get rid of the charges before you do any supers, because you don't want him to auto-block you and then punish you. I don't know how the AI works. If he does that big, heavy slam and does like 70k and then you die, that would be something I'd be upset about. But yeah, just like that. Really easy fight. Nothing to it. I don't know why this... It looks here that the clip is muted. But, yeah. I guess I'll try to fix it later. Like I said, it's my first time trying to do this, so just have patience. I do get rid of the invulnerability boost for this because I am confident that I'm not going to get hit. And if I do get hit, 9 times out of 10, it's if I have degen on me, which he has faced me, so he heals most of that damage back, you'll see. I think I've taken Kindred now like 4 times this season, so there really is no like pressure. You know, my hands don't get shaky or anything like that when I play. It's just a really slow fight. I like to do SP1s a lot. I don't really like to do the SP2s too much, because I don't want to pause them. I actually like having the degen on me because that's where Gladiator Hulk kind of does his damage. Also, the SP2 believe when he has Nightmare Outbreak and his stun immune thing, the SP2 actually does power drain, which is what I found out when I first tried this, which makes it so that if you do start with a bar of power, it does power drain you just enough to not have a super to get rid of the rooted. Which was like a crazy thing that we found out. It's not a big deal because once you're rooted, you just kind of hold block, make sure you bait heavies, and you just take your time with it. But yeah, besides that, I like to hit when I have the degen. I only really do SP1s because I never really want that timer to stop. Sometimes I'll dex it, sometimes I'll just block it. It depends, because I know with Mystic Dispersion, it basically gives them back to an SP1, which is not what you want, because then you're never near him. And then at this, when he has Nightmare Outbreak, it's okay to do the SP2, only because you can't pause it, so you already have it, so you might as well be able to get a punish off. I know you can punish the SP1, but it is very hard to do. It's kind of like a Void SP1, where you dash in during the animation, but it's not something for me to try during seasons. It's something maybe I'll try either in like an event quest or in off season. I'll see like what the frame is for it. It might be too far because I know I already put myself at the full edge of the screen during it, so it might actually be too far anyways. So we have to figure all that out. As we get closer to the rooted for the 5%, I do try to get my crowd approval to 100. It's basically impossible to do something like that. If you're not familiar with Gulk, his supers have different effects depending on the crowd approval. If the crowd approval is below 100, it does something, and if it's above 100, it does something. Now, the issue that we're running into is that the SP1 actually has a 60% chance to stun if it's under 100 crowd approval. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get to 100 crowd approval, but it just doesn't work if I'm not able to stun him and just be able to like get in his face to parry and stuff. So what we're doing is we end up having to either hold block to guarantee that I don't get stunned, or just throw it and hope that I don't get stunned. Well, I might have said that twice. But basically it's either just do this or throw the super, and I don't like the chances of getting stunned and then I end up costing us a death. And you see right there, I did get hit, but because I have Face Me active, it doesn't even matter. And you see there, we got lucky. I thought the SP1 was going to kill for sure. He only had 2% health, but he happened to not kill him. But because he was in Nightmare Outbreak, he's stun immune, so we happened to get lucky there. And it looks like the clip might have sound again. I'm sorry about that. I'll figure out why that happened. This is the fight that I was most nervous about. This is the fight that I got my only death this season. Not on this one specifically, but it was a Spider Ham on Brute Force, and the AI was just not cooperating. Did not throw any supers. Watched me degen away. There was nothing I can do about it. So going into this fight, I was very nervous because I wasn't too familiar with Silk. So I asked a bunch of people from my alliance like how it works. I was really nervous going in, so I picked Clintar Mutation, so whenever I'm able to get it, hopefully as the first buff, she won't be able to evade my stuff. You know, we play it slow, get all those intercepts, hopefully bait SP1s all game, because I did not want any part of that SP2. Because I also saw that if you miss the dex, it does a crazy burst damage. So right here we get it, and I did happen to miscalculate the punish, because it was, I was going based off of her, hold on. Yeah, I was going based off of her deep dive, with how like the animation looked, and I ended up just be like, okay, you can punish it from here. So it took me a few tries to realize when to punish it, and I'm very happy that I was able to get. She was very friendly with the SP1, so I was able to practice it because I was deathly afraid that she was going to be stingy, and then I was done. But we did get lucky with it. You know, we took our time with it. As long as you have Clintar, there's nothing to worry about. There is no evade from Spider-Verse champs. I absolutely love using Venompool. He is definitely one of my favorite Cosmics in the game. I know that when usually like Cosmics are very useful, they get overshadowed by obviously the big hitters like Hercules, Hulkling, Gallon, you know, those big ones. But people like Venompool, Venom, I mean, I'm sure people know about Venom, but even Venompool, like King Groot is another good one. Just people that you don't often think about because of how good the Cosmic class is considered. But everyone has a hidden talent. Like, I use Venompool for Spider-Verse champs because he stops their evade. Even, like, Red Goblin has the ability to stop Spider-Verse champs from evading. Like, it's just insane. And it's such an amazing game with so many champs that all have a purpose. No one's, like, collectively, like, bad at the game. Every champ, like, has a purpose. Whether another champ does it better than them is kind of up to you. Now, you see there, what I did was I baited her heavy with my heavy, which gives me a vicious buff, which allows me to have increased potency on damage over time debuffs, I think by 50%, which hopefully if you get to 100 on the cooking meter, you can pause it. But I was more focused on hopefully baiting out that SP1, so I did end up losing the bleed. And right here, I am literally terrified because I happened to, like, just like the SP1, I did see the SP2 animation, like maybe once or twice. And I wasn't confident enough to dex it, so I just started holding block to make sure to bait it. And right there, I was a little nervous because I didn't have an invulnerability. But we took our time with it, and we did it. Yeah, we did end up losing this war, but I think we all played pretty well, especially my group. But overall, I think our alliance played good. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. There will be another one coming soon with War number 9, I believe. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you all in the next one.